But my relate with people, it wasn't help. Like I still had a lot of toxic thinking patterns. I used to focus a lot on what I don't want or what I don't like or things that are going wrong. I just did not have very healthy ways of dealing with like interpersonal things. And that's just simply because of my insecure attachment style. I just didn't have the tools. I had an abandonment wound like deep down. It was a really long and very horrific journey, if I'm honest. It was awful. It was awful. And I think it was awful because I didn't have the support. I didn't have the direction. Today I have to say y'all are so lucky. Like you literally open Instagram and there's all these like tools. We didn't even have something called Instagram. Like we hardly had email. Okay. I'm old. I was just very, so what I would say is I feel like I had to learn the hard way, if that makes sense. Just like, somebody who's like, groping in the dark and just like messing things up and then trying again and then messing things up and trying. It was just like, it was a very painful process. This is why I wrote these books. It's because I hope that I can help other people to do it with less blood, sweat, and tears involved. Because it can be really, really hard. But if you have those tools, if you have direction, it doesn't have to be that painful. And I think therapy can really help. But it's a very big question, but I talk about it in my books. But when I wrote Reclaim Your Heart, a big part of that answer was finding a secure attachment in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was a huge part of my healing. Because I had that anxious attachment to people, I found the secure attachment in Allah. I had not found it to people yet. I had not. When I wrote this book, I had not. It wasn't there. But what I did to heal was I found a secure attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's how I got through. And that's how I wrote this book. It looked like even if Allah's got me, that's what it looked like. It looked like, in that ayah, that statement of Musa alayhi salam got me through a lot. It was that concept of tawakkul. It was tawakkul. It was like, whatever is going to happen, Allah's going to get me through this. That was it. That was absolutely it. Whatever it is. Everyone can say, you're doomed. This is going to be the end of your life. Everyone can say that. But I have to know with full certainty that Allah's got me. No matter what happens. Honestly, that's what got me through. So this phase, this era, it was finding that security in Allah. And you can see it all throughout the book. The whole book is just that. That's the entire theme of the book. Is when you have this insecure attachment to people, how you have to find that security in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right. So that was how I healed. A big part in that part of my life. Then I wrote these books because I think that what happened after that is that I started to develop healthier relationships with people as well. And that's where the healing in terms of secure attachment to people happened. And a lot of that was talked about in Healing the Emptiness. How to be healthy psychologically, socially, environmentally, in your thinking. A lot of my thinking wasn't necessarily healthy. I think my thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was healthy in this era, in this time. But my relate with people, it wasn't healthy. Like I still had a lot of toxic thinking patterns. I used to focus a lot on what I don't want or what I don't like or, things that are going wrong. I just did not have very healthy ways of dealing with like interpersonal things. And that's just simply because of my insecure attachment style. I just didn't have the tools. I had an abandonment wound like deep down. And so there was a lot of, and there's shame and all these other big terms that, you can read about. But I think Healing the Emptiness was a lot more about learning the healthy psychological tools and healthier interpersonal. I just had healthier, alhamdulillah, I was able to develop healthier human relationships. Yeah, but that was my journey. It was first I had to learn to attach in a healthy way to Allah, and then I had to learn the other part. Yeah, that sometimes we project the unhealthy, maybe we had an unhealthy caregiver, right? Maybe we had like a parent, as you said, who was maybe a parent who was really, really strict, a parent who was impossible to please. A lot of times when people have this, they project that image onto Allah. They actually look at Allah as being impossible to please. Nothing I do will ever be enough. No matter how hard I try, it'll never be enough. And they're almost like running on a treadmill and they're not getting there and they'll never get there. And part of what you have to do, as the sister said, is you have to actually heal your image of Allah and also recognize how it is connected to this unhealthy relationship with the parent. That is part of the journey. I met this woman once, and she was like one of these people who was like always on 10th gear. You know what I'm talking about? You know, the people who are like, no, I have to do more, I have to do more. And they're like constantly go, 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 go. Anyone know anyone like that? Y'all know who we're talking about, right? Go, 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 go. No, I have to do more. I have to do more. And you're constantly on this. It's never enough. And she was that way with Allah. Like, she always felt like she wasn't doing enough good deeds. Always pushing herself like, no, it's not good enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. Like, just really pushing. And when I dug deeper, she had a dad who was impossible to please. She had a dad who was just so critical and so impossible to say that, you know, you're good enough. Like nothing was ever good enough. And so as a result, she literally thought about Allah like that. She projected that image onto Allah. And she thought that nothing I do will ever be enough to please Allah. And it really had to do with the original caretaker and the relationship with that parent. So that is very relevant. Another reason why it's so important to work on our parenting and to heal our parenting, because we're literally setting up the blueprint for our child to attach to Allah. And it's very much a reflection of their attachment to us.